I think Mikey just loves doing that right before we start every episode. It's just me and you, Joe, doing this. Like,
Dude, that's good.
Don't know when I'm gonna hit record.
That was so good.
And Joe's laughing because I said I look straight today,
Yeah.
everybody.
Well, it's like, I mean, I don't think so because I know you. But maybe on the street, somebody,
it's somebody at the
Walking.
gym.
Yeah.
Guy
Is
looks
that
like
goals?
the greatest male ever.
Well, I have a camo hat on, which Lance bought me in Florida, and an oversized pump cover. I forgot what they were called. And my beard is large and unruly. So yes, I'm straight. And then we have Lucha Libre over here, Lance, with his new facial hair
Dude.
decisions.
The Lemmy. I'm digging the Lemmy.
Thank you. Finally, someone
Digging the Lemmy.
gets it. I was like, it's Lemmy like all day long. You can't go wrong with the Lemmy.
No.
That's Motorhead for you, Mikey.
No, I know who Lemmy is. I was just thinking more towards like From Dusk Till Dawn, you know?
Oh,
No.
what's his name?
The makeup
Savini.
effects artist. Yeah, Tom
Yeah,
Savini.
Savini.
Abe said you look like the security guard in Dawn of the Dead,
Yeah.
which I will post a picture up, everybody, so you can see. But anywho, welcome back to the second episode of the second season of the Comic Chop, where we get together and slice our way down our local comic book store. In today's episode, we will be reviewing another holiday-themed one-shot because we just can't get enough of Christmas, even though it's over, or any holiday. So we'll be reviewing a little Christmas special one-shot that we have. But before we begin, it's been a little while, gentlemen. How are you guys doing? What's the weather like?
Cold.
Yeah.
Yeah, cold here in New Mexico.
Well, actually kind of warm here right now in Florida, but it's raining. So like it said, oh hey, we'll warm it up a little bit for you guys, but then we'll just make it really gloomy and gray. So don't forget that it's cold other places. So that's kind of where we're at, Florida.
Well, appropriately, Texas is being Eiffel Towered by Florida and New Mexico, because we are both cold and rainy. We are supposed to be getting a wintry mix, which apparently means snow. So we'll see, because last time that happened, I didn't have power for 5 days.
Yeah, you guys are under your own power system, so God knows you could have fixed that 10 years ago.
No, we have to worry about TikTok.
It's back on already.
Yeah, it's already back on.
It came on back faster than the power grid back in 2021. So
exactly, it's sad and funny at the same time. Old Trump's like, hey, no, I wanted to cancel it, but now I want it back.
He's not even president yet. Whatever's happening is not because of Trump. Next week, I don't
Monday,
know.
tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow. Which
tomorrow.
They're gonna do it inside, aren't they? Like that's a funny thing. Like he can't even handle the cold.
It's pretty cold, Lance. And for some reason, you guys keep selecting old geezers to run our country. So yes, their paper-thin skin cannot handle the cold.
Whoa. What do you mean, you guys?
Yeah, what do you mean, you guys? What do you mean, you people?
Oh, I forgot I'm straight today. We keep electing these. I'm just kidding. No, I'm just saying. I don't care what party you're affiliated with. Just can we get someone young, please? Jesus.
Yeah.
Or younger. Anyways, This is not a political show, Joe. Calm down.
Not at all.
But good. I'm glad you're doing well. I actually I don't know if y'all have been reading anything interesting. Finally got a copy, which is funny because my library had it, which I didn't even think this was like appropriate for a library. There's a graphic novel I've been wanting to read called Killing Stalking, as you can see here. It's pretty chunky. And it's Lance, do not say anything. It is about a boy or young man who's obsessed with this guy, and it takes place in Korea. So like in Korea, they have to like do the military for so many years before they can continue with their adult lives. And he's like obsessed with this guy, and he's like super gay for him. And then he comes out and he is like a little like psycho, like, oh, I'm gonna go and break into his house and like smell his stuff. And like when he does, he finds a naked girl tied up in the guy's basement. So the guy like kidnaps the guy that's like obsessed with him, and it's like a real sick like what's it called? The syndrome where you fall in love with your captor. Stockholm syndrome. Yeah. It's like an extreme version of that where like this guy's like breaking his legs, like beating the shit out of him, but he's still like Yes, sir. Anything for you, sir. And I'm like, "Ugh, my fantasy.
I was gonna say,
Uh,
can't say much for Mikey in that one.
let's just say I go to bed fully bricked up after I read that book. Nevertheless,
Hmm.
have you guys read anything? Probably not.
Nope.
Life's busy.
Yeah, it has
Yeah.
been.
Yeah.
It has been.
Well, anyways, we'll just get right to it then. Today we are going over a one shot called Dread the Halls. It looks like this if you're on YouTube. I'm holding it up. Now that we are available on podcast platforms, you can look
Yay.
on YouTube if you want to see what it looks like. But Dread the Halls, it's from Image Comics. It's written and created by Jordan Har and Chris Ryan. The art is by Lee Ferguson, Jimmy Kushak, Walter Pax, and Fabio Veras. Yeah, it's a holiday horror anthology that includes one, two, three, four tales. Uh, Dead Notes, Gone Fishin', Northerners, and Krampus Slayers are the titles of the film or the entries that we have. So, unlike the book that we reviewed last what time, this is an anthology, but all the issues are already in this one issue because they're short. It's not like each issue is a different story. So, we'll do a little
Mhm.
compare and contrast afterwards, but I figured we would go a little bit through each story, which is funny because last time when Joe was trying to figure out which one we were reading, he was like, the one with the carolers. And I was like, maybe because I haven't read either of them yet. And then as I was reading this one, I was like, oh, that's what he was talking about.
That's really great.
And I had to ask again today. I was like, wait, which one was this? I just needed to know the title so I could go look it back up online. I found a site where you could read stuff for free. I know horrible of me, artists, writers, they need their take. They need their take, but I just needed to look it up real quick.
It's New Mexico. It's a lawless country over there.
It is Wild Wild West, baby.
At least you're not over here like Lance stealing other stuff. But um,
Whoa.
so as Joe alluded to, Dead Notes involves a story about like creepy carolers that come to your door. Gone Fishing is a tale of
Right?
no.
No, that's the one with the two kids that try to catch Santa
Oh,
Yeah.
right. It's
with
the
a
third one.
fishing hook in a cookie,
Which
I
is
thought
weird.
was-
It's weird because Gone Fishing is because I was confused because the next story is about a guy hiding in an ice fishing cabin.
Yeah.
So like that's where it's confusing. But no, Joe's right. It's about two boys who stay up late to see Santa and they put a fishing hook in the cookie because they want to kidnap him to have endless supply of presents, but turns out they do not capture Santa Claus. They capture someone else. Um, Northerners, which is the one about the guy hiding in an ice fishing
Mhm.
cabin, and there's a Wendigo outside, which is kind of the story, but not really the story. We'll go in deeper a little bit individually after this little roundup. Krampus Slayers, do I even need to explain it? It's literally what it's about. Um,
Says it all.
I know. But we'll go into Dead Notes first. This is the one with the creepy carolers. I I think this was actually a pretty good start off because I was confused because these stories are, I want to say maybe like 6 pages each.
Yeah.
And then it like ends and you're like, what is this a different chapter? Is this because I didn't know it was a one shot for a while.
Mhm.
And so what did you guys think of Dead Notes?
I thought it was actually I really liked it. It got me engaged to the point where because like they wake up in the middle of the night when the carolers are going and like the chick is like, no, we gotta make noise. So like she already knows what's going on, but you
Mhm.
didn't like now I'm like hungry for more like a sequel or a prequel and like, well, how did you know what's going on? You've got just firecrackers like just on standby for these carolers. I thought it was really good for like telling the story in 6 pages, get in, get out, on your way. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, I mean, and the funny thing too is they technically do slightly a prequel because the little girl is supposed to be the girl that's older later,
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
and so like they jammed a shit ton of things in here for that story, and like even at the end, like I'm kind of like how you are with that, Joe. It was more like what the fuck,
Yeah.
What happens? Like kind of like, oh,
Yeah, I get frustrated sometimes when I don't understand comics, but then when they start coming together, I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. And like that's gonna happen with these because they are really short, but they like, but
Mhm.
I thought this one it was creepy because of course the carolers are singing Silent Night, which is in my opinion one of the scariest, but also the saddest Christmas songs, depending on the situation. But uh, because it starts off with the white noise machine she has breaks, and she's in bed with her partner, husband, boyfriend, whatever he is. And as soon as that happens, and she hears the carolers faintly in the background, she freaks out and she's like, "Put on dubstep, put on metal." And I'm like, "Oh my God, is she's sleeping with Lance?" Um, and
it's like,
so,
never jump step. I don't care. Maybe something else. Maybe the
uh,
metal.
yeah, but it was creepy, and then it was also just I felt like it was very smart because as we'll compare later to another comic, this is really thought out because she has the crackers, which is like you're like, oh wow, where'd you get those from? But also like it's an important detail that crackers, and we're talking about the fireworks, everybody that you light looks like little TNT connected. They take a while to go off. They don't just go off. Like there's a long it's called a wick or something fuse. And that's kind of important because like of what builds the tension of them actually like starting to like fall under some sort of trance, and then because it finally would get to the cracker, it goes off. And I when that one was over, I was like, I fuck with that, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I thought it was a super strong entry into the series, into the one shot. So I definitely give that one a thumbs up. They're
Yeah.
kind of short
Yeah.
to do. I mean, y'all can if y'all want, but they're a little short to do like a star rating. Uh, so I thumbs up or thumbs down for
Yeah, I
me.
was gonna say thumbs up, thumbs
Yeah,
down.
yeah.
We're like the Roman Colosseum here
Yeah.
today, folks.
Which actually, Joe's a perfect person to ask. Joe, is it true back in the day, does the thumbs up actually meant kill him, thumbs down meant let him live?
This was actually Let Him Live.
Yeah. So
Really?
we all
Yeah.
thought backwards.
Huh.
Gladiator got it wrong.
Yeah, I was
Oh
gonna say
man.
both times. That's sad. You had two options to change it. They're like,
For for those listening and not watching, Joe did a thumbs down and
Oh,
said, "That's let him live." Just so
that's right.
everybody
Yeah.
knows. I know we're not used to being audio queens, but here we are. Uh, our next story is Gone Fishing, the one with the two little brats. Interesting choice to make them different races. I guess
yeah,
their brothers are adopted or something.
Did you notice that too?
I
I was
did.
like, why is this little white kid, this little black kid? Why are they not that they can't, not that they shouldn't be friends, but I was like, what's the story behind here?
Well,
Why
see,
are you
I
guys spending Christmas
we need
night,
adopt.
Christmas morning together?
exactly because I was like, okay, well, they could be friends, no big deal. But I was like, but
Hmm.
friends don't. There's not really a sleepover during Christmas
Yeah,
Eve. That's
it's
weird.
usually a like a nuclear family thing.
Yeah, and
But
then
different families do different, I don't
I
know.
mean, hey, I have a white daughter. I mean, well, she's half white, half Mexican, and I have a half Mexican, half black daughter. So I get it. I just thought it was interesting. Maybe it's because of my camo hat. I was a little.
His straightness was falling on the storyline. Sorry, folks.
Hmm.
He's trying
Uh,
to take it too straight. We're like, no, no,
Are you sure
no.
you're sure you're not late for your clan meeting there later?
no, that just ended.
Okay.
But
That's why we started late. Okay.
yeah.
Joking. For everybody out there, we're joking.
Yes, joking.
Yes. There's no
Uh,
way Mikey would do that with those guys. He hates those sheets.
ugh. I'll only wear red, so I'm actually at the top of the pyramid. But anyways,
You're a wizard.
the grand. We're joking, everybody.
Yes, 100%.
Yes. Yes.
Anyways,
Mustache beard going on now.
yeah, for Lance, I can't speak on his behalf. He didn't do any favors with what he just did to his face. But um anyways, Gone Fishing. This one, the two little kids, and I don't know, maybe they're like 9 or 10. They're not like super little, but you guys, you don't if you want to trap someone, you don't put a fish hook in a cookie. Like even if it was a little stupid. Like they were dumb.
What kind of Wile E. Coyote Acme freaking dynamite bullshit was this? Like that's what I was thinking, but also like they're dumb little kids. Like of
They had
course,
like
and
a
they're
right?
the
Wasn't
bad
that
guys in the story too. So
Yeah.
But
Just
it
like,
wasn't that the thing was supposed to be a magic hook. Like no matter what fish caught it, it wouldn't be able to let it go. Like that was like at least that's what I was reading. When they were saying it was like he's like, yeah, my dad said that no matter what hook gets put in the mouth, you'll never let go. You can catch any big fish it lands itself in. So I was like, oh okay.
I
I
mean,
don't know how it relates to Christmas, but then they have the cookie. You're like, what the
I think that was just machismo talk. He was like, "Well, my dad said this will catch anything,"
yeah,
and it does fall. He Santa-ish falls for it, but I didn't think I was gonna like this one because I just hated those kids. Because yeah, they're kids, but also like I don't know, maybe I don't know, maybe they did it on purpose or not. But like at the age that these kids looked, I was like, that's a little old to be thinking you could fish hook someone and everything's fine.
yeah. I
and
mean that
also
and
there's better ways to probably catch Santa Claus.
Yeah, Roofy, hello.
get drug them.
No
God.
worries.
But again, what one of the biggest strengths I think in this comic they have is just storytelling and smart twists because Santa's like, you hooked me, whatever, you're coming with me, and takes him up, and it turns out that it's not Santa. It looks like Santa. And then they go into this backstory lore of how there was two babies that the elves found in the North Pole. And let me make sure I correct me if I'm wrong, because this is what I think, but it could also have been the other way around. The bad elves took evil Santa and was like, "Oh, we need to take care of this one. We better to save one than to accidentally lose both of them." And then like the good traditional elves were like, "Oh no, this poor baby," and they took actual Santa, and that's like the good Santa. So good Santa handles the good list, while bad Santa kind of lives in the shadows and handles the bad kids. Is that
Yeah.
right? Okay.
Yeah.
Because it's not like the typical like, oh, let's save Santa, and the bad Santa was just kind of thrown to the side. It was like the opposite was done. So I was like, well, that's
Hmm.
cool. And then um another cool twist is that these kids, their punishment, because they were like, don't tell our parents. And I think maybe they did do it on purpose to where they're older and they're using a fish hook and they're just stupid because like they're stupid. If you like, your concern is they're gonna tell your parents like, yeah, you're dumb, or just so entitled, be like that. Surely they can't do anything else to us, but
Hmm.
they turn one of them into a toy, which I wonder if that was intentional because he seemed like the impressionable one, and then the one that was like really bad, that was like kind of like the bad influence. He gets turned into a cookie and he gets eaten.
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought it was kind of cool because you knew they were like trying to get that line in there where like had that picture moment where like the secondary Santa, we'll call him, I guess, is where he does that the eyes, you have that visual of his eyes gleaming down, and it's
Yeah,
like, oh, trust me, I'm not gonna tell your parents.
yeah,
Like, oh shit, your guys are dead.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
it gave that off. The artist whoever did it gave a really perfect like Pictionary of that look. And you're thinking, oh yeah, kids, you're gone. I mean, even the part where like it's the cookie part, like where you see like coming towards the mouth. I mean, that was like impending doom basically for the cookie. And then it's like, I love the fact that they use the words because like I like to collect a certain action figurines, as I like to call them. But like the
toys.
fact that they said the articulation, like 12 points of articulation, like you mean
Yeah.
like movement. I like laughed and I go, that's actually a real good like like toy, like
Yeah, it's a
reference.
selling point. It's a selling point. 12
Yeah,
points of articulation, kung
yeah,
fu grip.
yeah,
So,
exactly. It's like it was kind of funny, but like yeah, I thought that was kind of cool. I thought the whole story in general was just basically, plotted out very well. You know what I mean? And
mhm.
then slightly didn't leave you hanging like the first one did because you're like, oh yay, an actual
Yeah,
finish.
I
Yeah,
mean, it wasn't a. I mean, I guess it was kind of a happy ending because the kids deserved it. Not
100% they did.
not all kids are great. Sorry. Um, but also like it because what the biggest difference between this is our second story and the first one I felt was more mature and like quite creepy. And what I really liked about this one is it was more juvenile in like a goosebumpsy way, but like because did end dark, like Goosebumps always had a bunch of dark endings,
Yeah,
where you didn't actually see them die, but like the last frame we see is the cookie going towards not Santa's mouth. And I remember there's a Goosebumps episode where the family gets turned into flowers, or like the kid gets turned into a flower, and like it's like in the grass, like help me, help me. And it just reminds me of that. So I liked it, which is strange considering R.L. Stein didn't write this one. He wrote a shitty one we saw last week. But um, yeah, Joe, did you like it?
Yeah, I thought it was good. I liked it. Like I didn't really think about it till you said it, but yeah, it was more kind of slapsticky because again, we've talked ad nauseum about the fish hook plan,
Hmm.
and that's just it's dumb, it's childlike, it's very Sandlot,
Yeah.
constructing this makeshift machine to do this very simple task. But no, I liked it. Again, get in, get out, you're on your way.
That's what
I
it's
give it a
known for,
thumbs up.
folks. I give it a thumbs up too. Oh, Lance doesn't like
No
it.
joke.
Or are we doing
Definitely.
we're doing ancient Roman? We doing ancient
Asian
Roman?
Roman.
Roman rules. Yeah, let's just confuse everybody. Uh,
I liked it.
me too.
It's a W.
Yeah.
It takes a W.
When in Rome, it was actually considered an L. I'm just kidding. Uh, but our third story, and by the way, four stories is like a great
Hmm.
length for these things. But our third one is Northerners. I don't really know. I mean, I guess because it takes place in the north, but a guy's he's like he has a death wish ultimately because his family's all dying, and he's like every time someone dies, pain is transferred, the emotional pain, and I'm thinking he's going up there to kill himself. He talks about like wanting to find a cabin by a lake and doing something there. So I'm thinking he's gonna try to kill himself. I don't know.
Hmm.
Um, but he opens the door and there's a woman there named Donna, and she's like, "Hello," and a Wendigo is after him. Which, if y'all don't know, well, folks, not you guys, but listeners, a Wendigo. I'm assuming it's a Wendigo because it's the spirit of the forest with a skull head and deer antlers, and that's what this thing looks like. It's coming after him, and the woman Donna ultimately like kind of gives him a clue of how to help him, and it's kind of a little love story after that. The monster goes away, and he comes. She can only come on Christmas Eve, and he visits her every Christmas Eve until he dies. And then in the afterlife, he can finally hold her. They can do some ghost fugging, and I wasn't sure. They insinuated he had to fight to do something, and they showed like deer antlers. So I wasn't sure if they insinuated he had to kill the Wendigo or
Hmm.
not. But
Yeah, he definitely
That's what
finished them
I
off.
surmised.
yeah.
Yeah.
But again, a tonally different story than the first two. None of these have had a similar tone. And even though this was the least horror, because really the only thing, like literally, it's like the first page is a horror attack or like the Wendigo coming, and
Yeah.
the rest is like love story. But I didn't hate it. I actually really liked it, and I liked the choice of I don't know what it's called. You guys probably do, but just the way the visual, the choice of illustration coloring or the coloring and the illustration type, it's sepia tone and red basically.
Hmm.
And usually I hate this shit. I'm like, don't show me this lovey-dovey whatever. I want to see the goods. But I liked it.
This was my favorite story.
Oh.
This was
Mm.
my favorite story, and I couldn't tell you why. Um, Maybe it was because I was thinking she was like trying to get him killed. Because again, like he just runs into this ice fishing house on this lake, and there's this hot chick just chilling in there. She's like, "Oh, come warm yourself by the fire," and he's like, "Oh, there's a monster out there," and she's like, "Hey, don't worry about that. Just come sit down here." And I'm like, "Oh, dude, she's in on it. She's gonna kill you. Never trust a hot chick that's just chilling in an ice fishing shack
No
in the
wonder no
middle
one
of the
talked to
night."
me last year in winter. Um, but no, I thought she was going to be bad too because the way that she was lit when he walks in, it's very eerie. But the eerie thing is that she's a ghost.
Yeah, yeah. And she was killed by the Wendigo, which is how she knew how to help him. And then yeah, and then it was a cute little love story. He just like moved out into the woods, saw her once a year for the next 60 years, and then oh, we get to go to heaven together or
Yeah,
whatever.
and then he sees his family,
Yeah.
and it was a really heartwarming. There was even like a beautiful message at the end about how like life took people alive away from him or something, but brought him a dead person to be in love with. I don't know. It was very cute.
Hmm.
I liked it. Lance.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Oh, you're
I,
really
I
good.
like the black and white factor of it because I mean that I think the sketchy kind of thing. You know how I love that kind of style of art, anyways. Is that's it's kind of like one of those things where I think it helps with the idea because it is probably somebody in a depression thing. So when some of you see the black and white, I mean, for what his mindset is, I think that's where he's at, where he's mentally like, this is what this is, and this is what this is, and that's where I'm at. So it lent itself to the storyline, which I think is great. And then to keep it pretty much in that same color pattern for the actual part where after it's all said and done that he does that once a year, which kind of reminded me of a little bit of a Pirates of the Caribbean, you know what I mean? Because like that's what happens with the one character. He ends up being Davy Jones, you know, and he can only
Mhm.
see her once every year. He's allowed to walk on land or whatever and stuff like that. But it had that very like old school romantic kind of vibe to it where it was just like, oh yeah. But you wonder like, does he have a regular life? Did he have children? Like was it that his whole year was based on this one moment? I was kind of like, that
Well,
seems
he didn't have any children because he said he's the only one left, which is why he doesn't want his death to fall on to transfer. He doesn't want his death to have pain transfer to anyone else. Like he doesn't have kids. Looks like we all like this one. The last one we have is Krampus Slayers, which I guess was trying to tell us something about racism. Who knows? Uh, this is our this is our closing
weakest.
piece. It's our closing piece, but I kind of feel it's our weakest piece. It was traditionally styled in the comic book sense with like superheroes and stuff. It has to do with a he's not a gypsy because he's not from he was even like I'm not from Egypt, but they call them gypsies and
Mhm.
Yeah.
whatever country they were in. Krampus is there basically, and the kid is helping the white folk beat Krampus somehow. It was a little all over the place for me. I didn't really understand it, but I don't know. What did you guys think of this one?
It was the action. We needed some kind of action, I guess, to throw in this book. I didn't hate it. It
Yeah,
was it was there. Wasn't bad.
Yeah. I enjoy the artistry of it. Like, you know what I mean? That was probably my favorite thing was because it was like so I guess was it a Teen Titans kind of vibe where it seemed very Japanese esque with some of the actions and the way they had little characters over their facial reactions to things and his
hmm
action. So it was fun in that sense. Story wise, I was kind of like, but again, like you're saying, it's an action one, so really for all purposes, it's
yeah.
kind of
It was interesting because I was reading the back page from the author, and it seemed like this would be the one that he connects to most because he talks about how his grandma really met Krampus. So I was like, oh, maybe that's where he's pulling this from. But
uh,
it's too short to hate, honestly. But I just I wouldn't really. I mean, I think I would read it again just to see if I missed something because I was like, where the fuck does that purple shard come from? I don't know. Um, but
Did you catch the fact that they kind of did that with the first one and the last one, where it really didn't actually end? It was like really quick and like you were kind of in the midst of what was going on, but the two ones in the middle literally were like the full story. Like you got the full stories of
Hmm.
both of those, and the two end pieces were like kind of like leave you hanging in the beginning and leave you hanging at the end kind of thing. I don't know if they did that on purpose or something like that, but
I
like
mean, the Krampus one doesn't really leave you hanging. They kill Krampus at the end, and he's like, "Peace."
yeah,
So it's really just the first one. So your theory's flawed, Lance. But I know. I can't believe you would even say it. But
uh,
uh, but I did. So it's funny because the author talks about how his grandmother told him that she met Krampus when she was young, and they was on Christmas, and they heard like a. Did y'all read the back page?
Hmm. Yeah.
Of course, Lance didn't.
I did.
So anyways, grandma went through some traumatizing experience where the town folk dressed up as Krampus and Santa went door to door and made the kids kneel down in front of them and they judged on if they were good or not. She was good, but
It's
it
Krampus not.
yeah, but it terrified her. And so even the author was like, thank God she didn't tell us until we were teenagers because that would have freaked us out. But
Mm-mm.
I did think that these last two paragraphs were interesting, especially for our fans out there that are really into the comics and like who does what. So it's Chris Ryle and I. This is from a note from the author, everybody. Chris Ryle and I have always shared a love for Marvel's Bronze Age holiday issue, Bizarre Adventures number 34 being our favorite. Those one shot features a collection of short stories with ranging genres and art styles and always made a perfect seasonal gift. Years ago, while exchanging a few of them, we thought it'd be fun to make our own focusing on horror. What you hold in your hands, what I hold in my hands, is a realized idea thanks to Chris, Image Comics, CG Publishing, a horde of incredible artists, and my grandma who shared her own holiday horror story one snowy Christmas night. To all a Krampusnacht, Jordan Hart. So, I really liked that. I thought it was cute because that's kind of information that I like. I just like to know how these things are made and like what makes them, come to fruition. I think it's cool. This is a one shot. It's one and done. I think this is way better than whatever the fuck we read last time.
Yeah.
It's Image never does me wrong. So
Check it out. Go check it out.
Joe Fresh.
Yeah. I mean,
Picture
and I'm
sound
sure you guys can get some of this or some of the back issues if you go to your local comic books. And I don't know if it did as well as we liked it, but it is what it is.
I don't think there's back issues. But if you don't have it, I think if you're saying you want to get it and it's not available anymore, yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and also you can also get other stuff too. I mean, they have online streaming stuff, and I'm sure that what was it? I guess Comixology has a good library of stuff that has independent stuff as well, other than Marvel and DC and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I think you can actually get an e-version on Kindle. So, because I was looking at all the different options we had. But, yeah. Well, ladies, gents, and everyone in between, that is the end of this week's episode. Much better than, well, the comic is much better than last time. My audio is much better than last time. Sorry for that shitty take we did last time. But thank you guys for listening. You have me, Mikey, and Lance from Slashers Podcast, and Joe from Much Ado About Nerding. You can hear both of our podcasts where all podcasts are available. You can follow Slashers Podcast on Instagram at SlashersPod. You can follow the Much Ado About Nerding podcast on Instagram at Much Ado About Nerding with underscores instead of spaces.
Much Ado About Nerding podcast.
Okay, so they want you to go a little bit extra. Much Ado About Nerding podcast. But yeah, check us out. Much Ado About Nerding, all things nerdy, Slashers Podcast, horror shit. We've come together to bukkake you with comic book stuff. So, with all that said, folks, Joe has two apparently. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Boop, boop.